They were not just pilots, they were living thunder in the sky. When the sun rose over the Pacific and engines roared from the decks of Japanese carriers, a shockwave of fear spread across entire fleets. The world suddenly understood that Japanese air power had arrived, and it was relentless. From the cockpits of Zero fighters painted with the rising sun, young aviators launched into history with unmatched discipline, skill, and courage. Their dives were precise, their attacks devastating, and their presence alone was enough to make enemies whisper their names with respect and fear. Japan entered the Second World War with more than weapons. It entered with centuries of warrior spirit. For these pilots, honor was greater than survival. They trained brutally until instinct replaced thought, until tight turns, violent climbs, and crushing G-forces became second nature. The men who launched from carriers like Akagi and Shokaku were not ordinary soldiers. They were sharpened blades of the nation, ready to carve their legacy in the clouds. The Mitsubishi A6M0 became their symbol. It was light, agile, and terrifyingly effective in the hands of a master. Early in the war, it could outturn and outclimb nearly every Allied aircraft, and American pilots quickly learned that once a Zero locked onto you in a dogfight, escape was almost impossible. Japanese aviators fought with a style that felt more like swordsmanship in the air, fast, elegant, and lethal. Pearl Harbor revealed their power to the world. This was not luck, it was precision and discipline. Torpedo bombers skimmed waves, dive bombers fell from the sky like arrows, and fighter escorts shredded defenses before they could react. In a matter of hours, Japanese pilots changed global strategy and forced every major power to rethink air warfare. Through the Philippines, Singapore, and the early battles of the Pacific, their dominance continued. Aces like Saburo Sakai and Hiroyoshi Nishizawa became legends, returning to base wounded, aircraft riddled with bullets, yet still flying with impossible control. Victory was not measured only in survival, but in honor, duty, and the pride of defending Japan. As the war turned and Allied technology improved, the challenges grew. Yet the spirit of Japanese pilots did not break. Instead, some chose the ultimate sacrifice, kamikaze missions. To the outside world, they were seen as madness. To the men who flew them, they were the highest act of loyalty. Their final dives were messages written in fire. Japan would not surrender its spirit. Today, their aircraft rest in museums and their runways are silent, but their story remains alive in history. These aviators did not simply fight in the Second World War. They helped define it. They showed the world that courage, precision, and national pride could lift a nation into the sky and leave a mark that time could not erase. If you want more powerful stories of heroes, nations, and legendary battles, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Your support keeps history alive. But the legacy of Japan's feared pilots did not end with the final shots of the war. Their influence stretched far beyond the battlefield, shaping the future of aviation itself. The tactics they created, the art of coordinated carrier strikes, the precision of massed dive bombing, and the deadly science of dogfighting were studied by every major air force after the war. Nations that once feared them would later learn from them, quietly acknowledging that Japan had rewritten the rules of air combat through sheer skill and relentless innovation. Many of these pilots were incredibly young, barely in their 20s, yet they flew as if they carried centuries of tradition on their shoulders. Letters discovered after the war revealed that they did not see themselves as conquerors. They saw themselves as guardians of their homeland, protecting families, mountains, shrines, and the honor of the rising sun. Even when fuel was scarce, even when the odds had turned against them, they climbed back into their cockpits because duty was stronger than fear. There is a powerful truth that history cannot ignore. Courage exists even in defeat. As Japan faced overwhelming industrial power from its enemies, its pilots continued to take off, mission after mission, knowing that each flight could be their last. Their courage was not loud. It was quiet, disciplined, and unbreakable. This is why they are still remembered today, not only by Japan, but by aviators across the world who recognize mastery when they see it. The image of the Zero cutting through clouds at sunrise has become a symbol of an entire era. It reminds us of a time when the sky itself became a battlefield, and when human skill decided life and death in seconds. It reminds us that technology alone does not win wars. Spirit, training, and determination do. And in all of these, Japanese pilots stood among the very best the world had ever seen. Modern Japan is peaceful, rebuilt, and forward-looking, but the echoes of those engines still live in its history. Museums, memorials, and surviving aircraft are not just artifacts. They are chapters of national memory. They tell the story of young men who flew into impossible odds and carved their names into the sky with bravery and sacrifice. And as we look back today, one feeling rises above all others: pride. Pride in their discipline, in their courage, in the incredible aviation achievements of a nation that transformed itself from an island empire into one of the most advanced societies on Earth. Their story is not about glorifying war. It is about honoring those who flew with unwavering resolve in one of the most turbulent eras in human history. If this story moved you, if you want to continue exploring the untold battles, legendary machines, and heroic soldiers from every corner of the world, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps keep these stories alive, so the courage of the past is never forgotten. Yet, the story of Japan's feared pilots is not only written in museums and history books. It is also written in the skies above the Pacific, in the lessons carried forward by modern aviation. The discipline, precision, and extraordinary situational awareness that defined those pilots became the foundation for Japan's post-war air units and even influenced civilian flight safety standards around the world. Commercial pilots today still train using methods inspired by those who once flew in combat, proving that the legacy of skill can evolve into a legacy of protection and progress. As decades passed, surviving pilots grew older, and their stories shifted from myth to memory. Interviews recorded late in their lives reveal something deeply human behind the legend. Many spoke not of glory, but of responsibility. They remembered the faces of their comrades, the smell of engine oil before takeoff, and the silence that filled the cockpit when the canopy closed. They understood that history would judge nations and leaders, but what they wanted, remembered, was the courage of ordinary young men asked to do impossible things. Across Japan, families still keep photographs of sons, brothers, and fathers in flight gear, smiling before stepping into aircraft that would never return. These pictures are not symbols of aggression. They are symbols of sacrifice. They remind a new generation that the cost of war is real and that bravery does not always end in victory. It sometimes ends in loss, but with honor preserved. The Pacific itself holds part of this memory. Beneath its waves rest aircraft wrecks, fragments of battles long finished, and the unmarked graves of pilots from every nation. Divers who visit these sites describe an overwhelming quiet, as if the ocean guards the final chapter of an era that changed the world. There, surrounded by silence and salt water, the story of Japan's aviators becomes larger than politics. It becomes a story of humanity. Today, Japan leads in technology, robotics, and peaceful innovation. But none of this came from nowhere. It rose from rebuilding, from reflection, and from the determination to transform a past of conflict into a future of progress. The same spirit that once pushed pilots into the clouds now pushes engineers, scientists, and thinkers to the cutting edge of modern civilization. And so, when we speak of the Japanese pilots who were feared across the Pacific, we are not only talking about warriors, we are talking about symbols of discipline, mastery, and unyielding resolve. Their story is a reminder that history is not simply about who won or lost, but about those who stood their ground, gave everything they had, and left behind lessons that continue to shape the world. If you want more stories like this, stories of bravery, forgotten battles, secret technologies, and the human emotions behind war, then like this video, share it, and subscribe to the channel. New episodes are coming, exploring heroes and legends from every side of history. Your support keeps these voices alive, and together we make sure they are never lost to time.